Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of our English podcast conversation for beginners, where we help you improve your English step by step. I'm Jason, your host for today's episode, and I'm excited to have you all with us. Today, we're diving into a topic that's close to the heart of every beginner English learner: the best advice for beginners. Learning English can be challenging, but with the right guidance, it can also be fun and rewarding. That's why we're here, to make learning English easier and more enjoyable for you.
And I'm Sarah, your co host. Hi, everyone. I'm thrilled to be here today to share some helpful tips and encouragement. I know that starting to learn English can feel overwhelming at times. There are so many new words, grammar rules, and sounds, right? But don't worry, you're not alone in this journey. We're here to guide you and show you that English is something you can master with a bit of patience and practice.
Exactly, Sarah. And we're going to break things down in a way that's easy to follow and fun to listen to. We want to give you simple, practical tips that you can start using right away, whether you're just beginning or you're looking to strengthen your foundation in English. We'll talk about things like setting goals, practicing with others, and choosing the right resources.
Yes, so if you're ready to get inspired and learn some effective ways to improve your English, grab a notebook, sit back, and enjoy this episode with us. We're here to support you every step of the way. Let's get started with our first tip on why learning English can be so beneficial in life.
All right, before we dive into the tips, let's talk a bit about why learning English is so important. English is often called the global language because it's spoken in so many countries and used in international business, science, and education. Knowing English can open up job opportunities, make it easier to travel, and help you connect with people from all over the world.
That's so true, Jason. English has become a bridge that connects people from different cultures and backgrounds. It's the main language of the internet, too. So, learning English also means gaining access to tons of information, entertainment, and resources online. Whether it's reading articles, watching movies, or joining global conversations, English lets you be a part of it all.
Exactly, Sarah. And for those of you listening, remember that every step you take in learning English is helping you build these amazing connections and skills. So keep reminding yourself of these benefits whenever you feel challenged or discouraged. It really is worth it. All right, let's jump into our first piece of advice. Start small and be consistent. When you're learning a new language, it can feel overwhelming if you try to learn too much at once. So instead of focusing on big goals like becoming fluent, start with small, realistic steps. Maybe set a goal to learn 5 new words a day or practice speaking for 10 minutes. What matters most is sticking with it every day.
That's a great point, Jason. Even a few minutes a day can make a big difference. Think of language learning like exercise. If you do a little each day, it adds up over time. But if you try to do too much too quickly, you might get tired or lose motivation. So, setting aside a small, dedicated time for English each day, like in the morning or before bed, can keep you consistent without feeling overwhelmed.
Exactly, Sarah. And remember, consistency is more important than perfection. You don't have to be perfect every day. Just showing up and practicing makes a difference. And as you build this daily habit, learning English will start to feel more natural and enjoyable.
So true. So, for all our listeners, remember, don't rush. Start small, keep at it, and watch your progress grow over time. You'll be amazed at how much you can achieve with a little bit of effort each day.
Our next tip is to focus on listening and speaking first. A lot of people start with reading and writing, but listening and speaking are the skills you'll use most in real-life conversations. By focusing on these first, you'll get comfortable with the sounds and rhythm of English. Try listening to simple podcasts, watching videos, or even just listening to conversations in English.
That's right, Jason. Listening gives you a feel for natural English, like common phrases and expressions. And speaking, even if it's just a few words, builds your confidence. You don't have to worry about perfect grammar or pronunciation. Just try to practice speaking, even if it's by repeating words you hear or talking to yourself in English. every bit of practice helps.
Absolutely, Sarah. Think of it as training your ear and voice together. The more you hear English, the more familiar it will feel. And by speaking, you're building the muscle memory to make English sound more natural. You could even try shadowing, where you listen to a phrase and repeat it right after to practice your pronunciation.
Great idea. So, for our listeners, remember, focus on listening and speaking to get a strong start. It's okay to make mistakes. Each one is a step forward. And with time, you'll notice your confidence growing.
Our next tip is to use simple materials. When you're just starting, it's tempting to dive into complex books or movies, but those can feel overwhelming. Instead, stick to beginner-friendly resources. You could use children's books, beginner podcasts like this one, or videos made specifically for English learners. These materials use clear language and simple vocabulary, making it easier for you to understand and learn.
Exactly, Jason. And simple materials don't just help you understand, they also build your confidence. When you feel comfortable with the language, you'll feel more motivated to keep learning. For example, start with short stories or simple dialogues, or even try watching cartoons in English. These are fun and usually use language that's easy to follow.
That's a great tip, Sarah. And remember, it's okay to rewatch or reread the same material. Each time you'll pick up new words and get a deeper understanding. Plus, when you see or hear something familiar, it reinforces what you've learned, making it easier to remember.
Absolutely. So, for all our listeners, don't stress about finding advanced materials. Start with something easy and enjoyable. The more you enjoy it, the more you'll want to keep learning, and that's what really counts.
Our fourth tip is to practice with others. Learning English isn't something you have to do alone. Practicing with other people, whether they're native speakers or fellow learners, can make a big difference. When you speak with others, you get real-life experience using the language, which helps you learn faster and build your confidence.
Exactly, Jason, and practicing with someone else can also make learning more fun and motivating. You can look for language exchange partners online, join English speaking groups, or even find a friend who's also learning English. Practicing together allows you to share tips, correct each other, and support each other's progress. It's a great way to stay consistent and accountable too.
And if finding a practice partner isn't easy, don't worry. You can still practice with yourself. For example, try recording yourself speaking English or even just talking out loud to practice forming sentences. Or if you have friends who are interested in learning, you could set up a weekly video chat to practice together.
That's a great idea, Jason. So, for everyone listening, remember, practicing with others makes learning feel real. It's not just about learning words and grammar, it's about using English to communicate. So, go ahead, reach out, and practice speaking as often as you can.
Now, as we wrap up our tips, I want to share some encouragement. Learning a new language, like English, is a journey filled with ups and downs. There will be days when you feel like you're making great progress, and other days when it feels tough. And that's completely normal. It's important to remind yourself that every bit of practice counts, even if it doesn't feel like it at the moment.
Absolutely, Jason. One of the best pieces of advice I can give you is to embrace your mistakes. They're not failures, they're stepping stones to becoming a better speaker. Every time you make a mistake, you learn something new. So, don't be afraid to speak up, even if you're unsure. The more you practice, the more natural it will feel.
That's such an important point, Sarah. Also, celebrate your progress no matter how small. Did you learn a new word today? Great. Did you have a conversation in English, even for just a minute? Awesome. Recognizing these small wins can boost your motivation and keep you excited about learning.
So true. And remember to find joy in the process. Whether it's through music, movies, or conversations with friends, make your learning experience enjoyable. When you love what you're doing, it's easier to stay committed. So keep pushing forward, stay curious, and remember that we're here to support you on your English learning journey.
As we wrap up today's episode, let's quickly recap the key points we discussed. We talked about the importance of starting small and being consistent, focusing on listening and speaking, using simple materials, and practicing with others. Each of these tips is designed to help you build a strong foundation in English and make your learning journey more enjoyable.
That's right, Jason. Remember that learning English is not a race, it's a journey. Take your time, enjoy the process, and don't hesitate to seek help when you need it. The more you practice and immerse yourself in the language, the more confident you'll become. And every effort you make, no matter how small, contributes to your growth.
Exactly, Sarah. And for our listeners, we want to thank you for joining us today. We hope you found these tips helpful and that they inspire you to keep moving forward in your English learning. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more tips, lessons, and conversations. Your journey doesn't end here.
Yes, thank you so much for being with us. If you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover in future episodes, feel free to reach out. We're excited to hear from you and support you along the way. Keep practicing, stay motivated, and remember, you're doing great.
Take care, everyone. Until next time, happy learning.